So this one has, this one that I made has, I put 2 matte board covers on it, and then on the inside it's leaf prints. Hope you can see that okay. Anna knows it's an origami book. Yeah, it has lots of different names. Let's see. I'm just checking. Hi Betty, glad you joined us. So I just thought I would show you how this book is constructed, because I think it has lots of possibilities, and as we're doing mini books, you could make a mini version. This measures, looks 3 by 3 to me. No, actually, it's about 4 by 4, this size book. So if you want to make this along with me, if you've never made it before, why don't you, while I just turn the camera down, you could grab some copier paper. And we need square pieces of paper for this, so each panel is a square. So if you want to work along with me, if you grab some just plain copier paper and cut it into squares, so like 8.5 by 8.5 is the easiest way to do it. You could perhaps fold along with me and you can see how it's done. So I'm going to show you how it's constructed with plain paper, because it's easy for you to see if I'm doing it with this printed paper, it's hard for you to see the construction. So I will show you this one close up in a minute when I tip the camera down, but for demonstration purposes, the plain copier paper is easier. And it's good to make a mock-up, because then you can sort of plan, make a mock-up from plain paper. You can plan your content out, because some of the pages get sort of split in diagonally with a fold, and then other panels get completely covered up when we glue it together. So making a plain mock-up is a good idea. So I need a drink of water. I am going to move the camera down. Just bear with me for 1 second while I refocus it, because we had a few issues last week which I attempted to address. Let's see. It's like a constant learning new technology at the moment, trying to best figure out like how microphones work, how cameras work, what's the best internet connection. It's like a whole new world. So I'm just going to try, I just need to put this text here to focus it. That's my little book review all written down. Let me just make sure it's focused. There we go. There we are, lovely. Okay. Yeah, the learning curve for online is like a little bit steep, but you know what? It's worth it, because I get to connect to you guys. So here is the book that I made. So you can do a hard cover or a soft cover. Well, here's the 2 books. This one is just sort of no cover, as it were. It's the one with Leanne's paste papers. So this, you're going to make it with an odd number of pages. So you will see we make these little sort of they're almost like little lotus flowers. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And I alternated them so that the paste paper faces up in 3 and the plain back, and vice versa. There's the back. Obviously, if you had double-sided paper, you'd be golden. But then you'd have more decisions to make. Go. And like I say, I didn't put any cover on, I just allowed this paste paper to be the cover. This paper that I use, well, that Leanne used actually, is a Mohawk Superfine. It's about £80, so it's like a sketchbook weight paper. So that's perfectly sturdy enough. So that's that one. And then this one I took a scrap of matte board, just from, cutting from, well, I mean, I don't do picture framing, but someone gave me some scraps from picture framing, and it was blue and then white on the back. You can see there the white, and I didn't even cover it. I just used the blue as a background. I used a little scrap of one of the prints. I mean, it's not even scented for heaven's sake, but doesn't matter. And then I just glued that on with matte medium, and the same on the back. So there was no covering, and once I construct the book you'll see, but I just left a gap around the edge. It was actually a little larger than I would have liked. Let me see if you can see better on this side. That's a bit better. See, there's a gap. It's probably 3/8 of an inch all the way around. So I just made it a little bit bigger than my folded book. So there we go. Let me just see if there are any comments. Laurie loves squash books. All right, so square pieces of paper. Make sure you can see them okay. Square pieces of paper. We need an odd number, so I'm going to do 3. I'll do 2 blue and 1 white. She's just copy of paper. Let's bring it a bit closer to me. So if you've never done this before, they need to be square. And again, do you remember the last few weeks we've been talking about mini books? This is another good time to sort of practice your getting things square and at 90 degrees. The nice thing about this project is you don't need to worry about paper grain. So I want you to fold it in half in one direction, bone fold. And I like to then open it up and fold it in the opposite direction. This helps me when I'm creating the squashy part. Flip it around and do it in the other direction. So you're folding it into 4 squares. Open it up and flip it over. So I'm folding in both directions. This is more important when you're using a thicker paper, I would say. When you're using copy, it's not quite as urgent. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. You should be able to see those folds. It's opened up, and then you're going to go from corner to corner just once, not twice, just once. Now this is where, when you match up the corners, this is where you see if your paper was square or not. If you had got your measurements off a little bit, you might have a little bit extra here, and you can trim it. But luckily I was able to cut something properly this morning. And that's it. That's all the folding you're going to do. And then what you're going to do is, I'm just going to go back in and refold those side ones so that all my folds are nice and neat. You're going to put it like this, facing you like a diamond. We've got these 2 diamond creases, and we're going to bring them together like this. Bring them together. Bring these 2 sort of diamond shapes or 2 triangles together like that, and squish it down. Looks like a little lotus flower or something. Hopefully you can see that. You have it like this. You sort of press it down in the center with your finger, so these 2 triangular folds come forwards like that. So let's say this side was my paste paper and this side was blank, you know, obviously the paste paper would be this way. If you've done it wrong, you're like, oh darn it, I want this side facing up. You just redo it the other way around. So now, you know, the paste paper's on the back and the plain is on the front, or however you want it. Let me just do that a couple more times, one more time, so you can see. This help you to one side. So remember, an odd number. Do one more. And the reason we have an odd number is because I'll just need to show you visually. When you put them together, one is going to face upwards and one is going to face downwards. And the first panel will face upwards, and you want the last panel to face upwards too. So that's why we have an odd number. There we go, down to the center. do it the other way. So you could do eco prints, you could do patterned paper, you could do sort of mixed media, sort of, I don't know, papers that you've created yourself. So here we go. I've got my 2 triangles. They come up, they join right here, fold down to make these little panels. So you then, that doesn't feel quite right, but that's okay. So then we put these panels together. So the first one faces upwards and the second one faces downwards. So it slides in like that. So it faces downwards. And then the next one will face upwards like this. So up, down, and the way you glue it is you are gluing these 2 panels together. So when I said you want to do a mock-up, this panel will actually be covered. So say your favorite print was there, you want to switch it around so that you don't lose your favorite print. And you would want to keep in mind that, you know, this one would then be prominent. So you may want to make sure your other favorite print is there. You also want to keep in mind that these panels are going to be cut in half, as it were, bisected by these folds, so that may also affect what you choose to put in your book. So you just glue these together. You could use PVA. I'm going to just for now use glue stick because it's back to school time and I have a ton of glue stick. So you put the 2 panels together like that. So a quick tip, you would think you should put the corner here in the center. You actually want to line up the folds here with the edge of the paper. Get that correct, because then it will close properly. So sometimes that means that your little piece goes over the center or away from it, and you'll just sort of fold it so that that disappears. So this one faces up, and this one faces down. I know this looks complicated the way I'm doing it, but just have to trust me when you come to do yours. So this one's facing up, this white one is facing downwards, and they're attached right here. Let me just show you this smaller one, it's probably easier to see. So here's the first panel facing up, second panel facing down, third panel facing up, fourth down, the fifth one up. So you always want the first and last panels to be facing upwards, like that. Oh. And in this instance, this is the back of the book because they're facing downwards. There you go. And I really like to either keep them folded like this with covers and some ribbon, maybe even like a little box. So I started to make a little box for this one, like this. But then I decided that I wanted it to be to hang on the wall. So that's why I decided to hang it on the wall.